Good evening and welcome to MITV News. I am Vina Peters. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu returned to Abuja on Tuesday night after spending the Christmas and New Year holidays in Lagos State. The president's return also followed a participation as the special guest of honor at the inauguration of Ghana's newly elected president, John Dramani Mahama. He was warmly received at the presidential wing of Murtala Mohammed International Airport by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat, and other cabinet members. Tinubu had arrived in Lagos on Wednesday, December 18, 2024, to celebrate the holiday season. Before heading to Lagos for the holidays, President Tinubu had presented the 2025 national budget amounting to 47.9 trillion naira during our joint season of the National Assembly in Abuja. The Minister of Communications, Innovations and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, says the telecom tariffs will soon increase but assures Nigerians that it will not be the 100% that telecom operators are pushing for at the moment. The minister disclosed this at a stakeholders meeting with mobile network operators on Wednesday in Abuja, saying consultations and engagement are ongoing to arrive at an acceptable rate, assuring that Nigerian Communications Commission (NCC) would soon approve the new tariffs and make it public to Nigerians. The minister also noted that the federal government would no longer leave investment on infrastructure in the sector to private companies alone. The Executive Vice Chairman (EVC) of the NCC, Dr. Aminu Maida, says that the meeting with stakeholders was about the sustainability of the industry, further stating that the NCC had put a number of tools and instruments into place by revising its quality of service regulations for compliance service quality. In another development, the federal government has promised Nigerians that a new national air carrier will begin operations in the country soon. This was revealed by the newly appointed Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Abubakar Kana, during the handing over ceremony organized by the ministry. He says his goal is to ensure that a national air carrier is established. He also promised the revamp of airports across the country. Kana said that this in a statement was promised upon President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for the aviation sector. He added that he would give unreserved support to the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, in the actualization of Nigeria's national carrier, as well as the upgrade of the airports across Nigeria to international standards. The National Assembly has taken a swipe at the federal government over the implementation of the capital budget of 2024, saying it was very low and the situation not palatable. The National Assembly expressed serious concern over the huge discrepancies in the size of the recurrent expenditure relative to capital expenditure and the low level of fund releases for capital projects for ministries, departments, and agencies in the 2024 budget that is ongoing. Consequently, both the Senate and the House of Representatives has asked Consequently, both the Senate and the House of Representatives has asked the economic team to, as a matter of urgency, do something about it by releasing more funds for capital projects, as this would be a major way for the people to feel the impact of government away from recurrent expenditure, which affects only a negligible part of the population. The position of the National Assembly was after the report of the economic team led by the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, who showed that the 2024 budget performance was 43%, with recurrent expenditure achieving 100%, while capital budget only managed 25% performance. In his remarks, Chairman Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Adeola, explained that he is an advocate for drastically reducing the ratio of recurrent expenditure to capital in the budget from the present level of about 80% for recurrent and 20% for capital to at least 60% to 40%, just as he stressed that capital projects in the budget and their implementations is a major spur for economic growth and direct impact on the people. Leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently being detained, has opposed the request by the federal government for the resumption of his trial. Kanu's lead counsel, Aloy Ejimako, revealed this in his post on X on Tuesday. According to him, his client Kanu had rejected the federal government's bid to reopen the trial and insisted that the trial judge, Justice Binta Nyako, must recuse herself from the case. Kanu's lawyer argued that Justice Nyako's decision to recuse herself was still valid and binding. He further accused the prosecution of attempting to mislead the court, insisting that Kanu no longer has a case before Justice Nyako. Kanu, who is being prosecuted on 7 counts of alleged treasonable felony and terrorism, has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Staying with judicial matters, the Lagos State Special Offences Court in Ikeja has assumed the jurisdiction to hear the allegations of accepting gratification, corrupt demand, and receiving property fraudulently obtained made against the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele. Justice Raman Oshodi, in his ruling delivered on Wednesday, held that the prosecution, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, successfully established that the court has a territorial jurisdiction to entertain counts 8 to 20 of the 26-count charge made against the former CBN governor based on various facts presented in the evidence attached to the case file. The court, however, agreed with lawyers to Emefiele that counts 1 to 4 of the charge are unconstitutional as they are not based on any existing laws in Nigeria. In his ruling, Justice Oshodi noted that while counts 1 to 4 relate to the general offense of abuse of office as defined by the criminal law, the specific conduct alleged in those counts, specifically the allocation of foreign exchange without a bid, is not defined as an offense in any written law. Consequently, the court struck out these counts. Regarding count 8 to 26, the judge emphasized that by applying established legal principles, the evidence presented was sufficient to affirm the court's territorial jurisdiction. Meanwhile, our Federal High Court in Abuja has made an order of interim freezing and forfeiture of the sum of over 228.4 million naira linked to former Governor Theodore Orji of Abia State of the federal government on allegations of money laundering. Justice Emeka Nwete, in a ruling on an ex parte motion moved by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC's lawyer Fadila Yusuf, also directed the EFCC to make publications of the order. According to Justice Nwete's order, interested parties should show cause within 14 days of the publication of the order. The judge adjourned the matter until February 3rd for a report of compliance. Now away from judicial matters, the Federal Capital Territory FCT Police Command has paraded Idris Usman and his motor boy Al-Hassan Ibrahim for alleged child trafficking. Addressing the media in Abuja on Wednesday, FCT Commissioner of Police Olatunji Disu says a patrol team led by DSP Sarki Umar intercepted a white Peugeot J5 bus on January 6, 2025 along the Abuja to Kano route. The vehicle, driven by Idris Usman, carried 59 boys aged 4 to 12. Investigation revealed Idris Usman, a Nasarawa state resident, transported the children from Kano under the pretext of providing training without proper documentation or parental consent. The suspects, the vehicle, the children are in custody as investigations continue. The CP says the police command is working with the Social Development Secretariat, SDS, to reunite the children with their families and prosecute those involved. In his defense, Idris Usman claimed he had been an Islamic studies teacher for over 40 years and transported children with their parents' consent solely to teach them. He denied any wrongdoing and said this was not the first time he had brought the children for religious education.
Was found to be transporting 59 male children aged between 4 to 12 years old. Preliminary investigations revealed that the children, who came from different families, were being transported by one Idris Usman, a male resident of Nasarawa State. He traveled to Kano State to convey the children en route Nasarawa State under the pretext, or according to him, for training them. This incident has been classified as a case of suspected child abuse and trafficking, given the circumstances and the absence of proper documentation or parental consent for the movement of the minors. At present, the suspect, the vehicle, and all the children are with us, while a thorough investigation is underway.
I am not happy. That is the reason why I rushed to the scene, and we have agreed now that we are taking them back to home, and I will speak with their parents and the leaders of their community. Definitely there must be a change, but I keep repeating it. It is the responsibility of the parents, the responsibility of the society, and of course government. We must put our head together and stop this kind of system.
Okay, for the suspects, what are you recommending?
Nobody is suspecting them.
No,
Remove
I mean
it from your mouth.
What message do you have for parents that allow their children to be?
Then they need to understand Quran, how it is, and the teaching of our noble prophet. The boy or the baby or anybody under 18 must be under the care of his parent. As a parent, you must take care of your children up to the age of 15. It is
In another development, the Nigeria Police Force National Cybercrime Center, NPF-NCCC, has arrested and paraded suspects involved in identity theft, business email compromise, and money laundering. While parading 4 suspects at the NPF-NCCC office in Abuja, the force public relations officer Olumuyiwa Adejabi revealed a syndicate which included Lucky Adesunloye, 34 years old, Ndufreke Joseph Moody, 27 years, and Chinedu Godswill Israel, 20 years. Adejabi explained that on June 4, 2024, the center received a petition from Madam Yasil Hassan Issa, who was defrauded of 24 million naira. Yasil stated that he received a WhatsApp message from someone impersonating an old business associate and transferred funds in multiple tranches. Upon discovering the account had been hacked, he reported the incident. Investigations led to the arrest of the suspects, who confessed to their roles. Efforts are ongoing to recover the stolen funds. In a separate case, the NPF-NCCC arrested Egbo Efe Martins, 26 years, from Delta State for facilitating cybercrime by opening and renting bank accounts to cyber criminals. Still on security matters, the Defense Headquarters has confirmed the killing of 6 soldiers during a raid by the Islamic State Boko Haram group in its military base in Borno State. In an update statement on Wednesday, the DHQ says although on the whole 34 terrorists were killed and 26 AK-47 weapons recovered, 6 of its personnel were killed in action. The DHQ also says its troops recovered over 200 rounds of 7.62 mm special ammunition. It stated that the terrorists were taken unawares when troops fighting patrol returning to base foiled their planned attack as soon as the attack commenced. Additionally, the troops' reinforcement team comprised of elements of the Civilian Joint Task Force, vigilantes as well as hybrid forces timely arrived at the scene to overpower the terrorists. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has strongly condemned and completely disassociated itself from the act of violence and attack on members of the press and the institution of the media. National Publicity Secretary of the party, Debo Olugunagba, who made this known while addressing journalists in Abuja, noted that the media was critical to the activities of the party and to the sustenance of democracy in Nigeria. Ndubisi Oji, who covers the party for the Sun newspapers, was on Monday assaulted by one Emmanuel Okoronkwo, identified as an aide to the party's ousted National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu. Okoronkwo, who claimed to be acting on the orders of Anyanwu, had rained punches on the journalist at the main gate of the PDP National Secretariat. Reacting to the incident, Olugunagba said the party disowns Okoronkwo's act, noting the party's commitment to the rule of law and the democratic tenets of freedom of the press, transparency, and openness.
The PDP, as a party committed to the rule of law and the democratic tenets of freedom of the press, transparency, and openness, strongly condemns and completely dissociates itself from such act of violence and attack on members of the press and the institution of the media, which is critical to the activities of our party and the sustenance of democracy in our country. Mr. Emmanuel Okoronkwo is not in the security department of the party and has no business whatsoever regarding the regulation of movements into the complex. He acted on his own in violation of the democratic and all-inclusive principles of which the PDP is known, and outside the code of conduct guiding activity of staffs at the PDP National Secretariat.
No fewer than 561 first class from a total of 9,684 graduating from various faculties will be graduating at the University of Lagos 55th Convocation next week. Vice-Chancellor Professor Folashade Ogunshola said 3,916 will graduate with second-class upper degrees, 3,763 with second-class lower degrees, 1,143 third-class degrees, 78 pass degrees, and 223 unclassified degrees at the convocation. Professor Ogunshola, who announced this on Wednesday while rolling out the activities, disclosed that 9,684 students would receive first degrees and diplomas, while 6,659 would be awarded postgraduate degrees. The university then hinted that 2 overall best graduating students are shared by 2 students from the Faculty of Science, Department of Cell Biology and Genetics, with a perfect score of 5.0, Damilare Harun Adebakin and Samuel Akiade Badikale. Professor Ogunshola disclosed that the convocation lecture titled Universities as Hub for Development and Wealth Creation will be delivered by the CEO of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, Dr. Tayo Adeloju, NESG, and to be chaired by Babatunde Raji Fashola San, former governor of Lagos State and former Minister of Works. Professor Ogunshola said one significant achievement as a university in 2024 was the domiciliation of the Med Africa GMP laboratory, the first good manufacturing practice GMP laboratory built within a university in West Africa, and is currently domiciled at the Faculty of Pharmacy, University of Lagos.
In line with our mandate of teaching, research, and service, and as part of my vision and future-ready agenda, we continue to focus on financial engineering, infrastructural development, reputation building, and manpower development. We focused on building leaders for the future and minds that are relevant, both locally and globally. In doing this, we forged new collaborations, exposed our students to international and national competitions, trainings and internships, and developed more spaces and worked also to improve the environment of learning. The one for the University of Lagos is for innovations in artificial intelligence, and it is expected to serve as a hub for the hatchery of creativity and innovation, not only among students of the University of Lagos, but young people around this hub, which continues to mark us as a hub for innovation. The design stage has been concluded, and the selected and construction and the contractors have been selected. So the construction of the project is expected to be completed by the end of the second quarter of 2025.
In the pursuit of education advancement for the people of Lagos State, the Commissioner of Basic and Secondary Education, Jamiu Ali Balogun, has reinforced the need to incorporate more public-private partnership in the education sector in order to give the downtrodden a sense of belonging. Ali Balogun, who made the call on Wednesday during the inauguration of 5 mega intervention projects in Idiaraba area instituted by a member, House of Representatives from Mushin constituency, Tony Fayinka. The commissioner maintained that Lagos population continues to increase every day, and to meet the demand of the people in education, more private sector is required. On his part, a member, House of Representatives, Mushin Constituency 1, Tony Fayinka, enjoined everyone to provide more basic amenities that can touch the lives of people. Permanent board member, Lagos State Universal Basic Education Board, Owolabi Falana, assured that more teachers would be engaged for the first primary school in Idiaraba.
Roads are going to be attended to. Public school, again, that are bad are going to be renovated. Culverts that are broken down are going to be attended to, and a lot more. Buses will be bought. More Kekemaro will be bought for our brothers and sisters in transportation industry. We have touched health, we have touched education, we have touched transportation. Every other one will be aspect will be touched positively.
Education is about collaboration. We are doing a lot in Lagos State. Moving forward, the population of Lagos State is huge. Every day people come to Lagos State to travel.
Back on the enrollment drive, when you have more enrollment, you will be able to post more teachers. We determine the number of teachers. The ratio is 35 per 1. So the number of teachers they will bring is based on at least if you have 35 pupils to a particular teacher. And if it's more than that, we can reduce the margin by saying that 25 per 1. The more pupils you have here, the more challenges we have at the Lagos suburb to post more teachers. When we post more teachers, the SBMC, the PF should work together to have an enrollment drive.
No time is late because the logo for last suburb is leave no child behind. We don't want to miss anybody out. Even the handicapped, the special ones, we have school for them. We want to explore everybody. Please, register. From tomorrow, registration starts. Even here and all other schools in Mushin too.
One person lost his life when tragedy struck on Wednesday near the Secretariat Inward Otedola Bridge along Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Lagos, following an unfortunate incident which involves a minibus, commonly referred to as Korokwe, that collided with a moving long truck due to brake failure resulting from excessive speeding. The severe impact left the driver of the minibus trapped within the wreckage. However, the swift and coordinated intervention of the officers of the Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, LASMA, ensured the immediate rescue of other passengers, of whom all emerged unscathed. The Director of Public Affairs and Enlightenment Department, LASMA, Adebayo Taufik, says LASMA officers alongside LASAMBUS personnel and FRSC officials worked relentlessly to extricate the trapped driver. Regrettably, despite their commendable efforts, the driver was recovered lifeless, and his remains were subsequently handed over to FRSC personnel by LASMA officers. Security operatives from the Alausa Police Division were present to provide protection throughout the duration of the rescue operations. Addressing the incident, the General Manager of LASMA, Olalekan Bakarioki, underscored the paramount importance of adhering to traffic regulations, particularly in maintaining safe speeds and ensuring proper vehicle maintenance. We now go on a quick break, and when we return, we'll bring you the foreign news. Stay tuned.
I'm so sorry, sir. Let me share my screen. And that is the end of my presentation.
What about our company annual returns tax filing?
Planning the new year for your company is intentional. So should your tax filing. To all employers of labor in Lagos State, take notice: failure to file your company's annual tax returns on or before 31st January 2025 is a contravention of the extant provisions of the Personal Income Tax Act 2004 as amended, which attracts stiff penalties on defaulters. Please note that employee taxpayer ID is required for the annual returns and 2025 projection returns. This message is brought to you by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, LIRS.
Welcome to the foreign scene. Sudan's military forces claim to have advanced into the country's second largest city, Omdurman, taking some areas previously controlled by rival rebel group, the Rapid Support Forces. Fighting was reported to be raging in the city, which sits directly across the Nile River from the capital, Khartoum, for a second day on Wednesday. The army has now seized control of former RSF territories in Mansoura, Marabat, and El Fitiab. The campaign in Omdurman is part of a new phase of the war that erupted in April 2023, with fighting heavily concentrated in Khartoum and the last contested state in the sprawling western region of Darfur. The conflict has killed tens of thousands of people and displaced millions. The military gains come after the United States determined that the RSF had committed genocide in Sudan and imposed sanctions on its leader, Mohammed Hamdan Hemedti Dagalo. Israeli forces have continued to pound Gaza, killing at least 9 people in pre-dawn attacks on Wednesday, including 2 infants, one of whom was aged 15 days. The deaths came hours after Israel bombed the so-called safe zone of Al-Mawasi and killed at least 5 children. Gaza's health ministry says hospitals in the war-torn enclave were facing a real disaster due to ongoing shortages of fuel. In a statement carried by the Palestinian Information Center, the ministry said Palestinian gangs again looted fuel tankers brought in by UN agencies and that Israel's military forced aid groups to take roads filled with thieves and bandits who stole supplies under their protection.
Both civilians and civilian infrastructure, including health facilities, to attack by operating amongst them, which is totally unacceptable. The protection of hospitals during warfare is paramount and must be respected by all sides at all times. The destruction of hospitals across Gaza goes beyond depriving Palestinians of their right to access adequate health care. Those hospitals provided sanctuary for thousands of people with nowhere else to go. The destruction wrought by the Israeli military's attacks last Friday on Kamal Adwan Hospital, the last functioning hospital in North Gaza, reflects the patterns of attacks documented in the report. Some staff and patients were forced from the hospital, while others, including the general director, were detained.
Los Angeles on Wednesday declared a state of emergency as a wildfire explodes from 10 acres to more than 2,900 acres in hours in the capital of California, United States. Fire Chief Christine Crowley ordered more than 30,000 people to evacuate, saying that 13,000 buildings are under threat. Dramatic footage shows houses ablaze in the Pacific Palisades area of the residents abandoning their cars to flee the flames. The fire exploded in size, fanned by 50 mph wind gusts and incredibly dry condition. A second brush fire has also started spreading quickly about 26 miles inland from the Palisades.
Los Angeles is currently experiencing an extreme fire weather condition with red flag alert. Currently, the fire is at 1,261 acres and growing based on aerial reconnaissance. The fire is being fueled by a combination of strong winds and surrounding topography, which is making it extremely challenging for our personnel that are assigned to this incident.
By no stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods. You heard a chief say 10 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. tomorrow will be peak winds. And having just